Here's the latest on xtalks.com. A trial that's been closely watched all summer has finally come to a close. Oklahoma Judge Thad Balkman ordered Johnson and Janssen to pay $572 million in the country's first state opioid case. Hello, I'm Candice Tang, life sciences journalist and webinar moderator for xtalks.com, and welcome to this edition of X-Talks Vitals. Our featured webinar for this episode is Understand Your Serialization Options and the Long and Short-Term Benefit of Switching Providers. Click the link in the description below to register for this free webinar, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the bottom right corner of this video so that you can always be up to date on the latest X-Talks Vitals episodes. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that at least 130 Americans die every day from an opioid overdose, including from prescription opioids. The number of opioid-related overdose deaths is now 6 times greater than it was 20 years ago. And who's to blame for that? Oklahoma, like many other U.S. states, are pointing the finger at Big Pharma. Over 7 weeks, state attorneys laid out a public nuisance case, saying Johnson and Janssen and its subsidiaries Janssen Pharmaceuticals overplayed the effectiveness of their opioid drugs while downplaying their addictive potential. The companies are being blamed for thousands of lives lost, families ruined, and billions of dollars in damages. But the pharma companies denied any wrongdoing, saying their marketing materials were vetted through their internal advisory boards, plus the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency and Food and Drug Administration. They also say that Janssen brand opioids account for less than 1% of the total opioid prescriptions in Oklahoma, as well as the rest of the United States. This wasn't enough to convince Cleveland County District Judge Thad Balkman, who called the pharma company's sales campaign false and dangerous. He also said Johnson & Johnson helped promote the idea that chronic pain was being undertreated and that increasing opioid prescription was the answer. In a statement, Johnson & Johnson said they would appeal the ruling, listing out reasons why they felt the judge's decision was flawed. First, they did not cause the opioid crisis in Oklahoma, and second, they say that this is a misapplication of the public nuisance law. The company estimates the appeal process will extend into 2021. So what does this mean for drug makers, state attorneys, and the millions of Americans affected by the opioid crisis? Simply put, this trial is just the beginning. Subscribe to the X-Talks YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below. And visit xtalks.com for more information on this story and our featured life science webinar for this episode. Understand your serialization options and the long and short-term benefit of switching providers. Click the link in the description below to register for this free webinar.